Good afternoon, Your Honors. This is case number IT0482T, the prosecutor versus Ljube Boškoski and Johan Tarčulovski.
The Chamber is sitting today to deliver judgment in the trial of the two accused persons, Ljube Boškoski and Johan Tarčulovski. For the purposes of this hearing, the Chamber will summarize briefly its findings, emphasizing that this is a summary only, and that the only authoritative account of the Chamber's findings and of its reasons for those findings is to be found in the written judgment, copies of which will be made available to the parties at the conclusion of this sitting. The two accused, Ljube Boškoski and Johan Tarčulovski, are charged with crimes allegedly committed between 12 and 15 August 2001 against ethnic Albanians from Ljuboten village near Skopje in the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia, which will be referred to as Macedonia. It is alleged in the indictment that a police unit commanded by Johan Tarčulovski entered the village on the morning of 12 August, that members of this unit shot and killed 6 unarmed ethnic Albanian residents of the village, that they severely mistreated 13 ethnic Albanian residents, 10 of whom were subjected to further beatings at a police checkpoint at the entrance to the village and later at Mirkovci police station in Skopje, as a result of which one of those men died. It is alleged further that members of the police unit intentionally set on fire at least 14 houses in the village, which caused serious damage to these houses or destroyed them, and damaged houses by the use of hand grenades and rifle fire. Further, it is alleged that in the afternoon of 12 August, about 90 ethnic Albanian men fleeing from the village were subjected to cruel treatment by other police at a police checkpoint near the village, and later at several police stations in Skopje Court 2 and Skopje City Hospital. The police are a component element of the Ministry of the Interior of the Government of Macedonia. At the time, Ljube Boškoski was the Minister of Interior. He is charged under Article 7.3 of the statute of this tribunal enacted by the United Nations on the basis that as the Minister, he was the superior of the police who committed the alleged crimes. But despite having knowledge of or reason to know what they had done, he failed to take reasonable and necessary measures to investigate and to ensure that they were punished for their crimes. It is his alleged failure, continued until May 2002, when the prosecutor of this tribunal announced that she was assuming responsibility for the investigation of the Ljuboten case. It is on this basis of his alleged responsibility as their superior that Ljube Boškoski is charged in the indictment with first, the murder of 7 ethnic Albanian men, a violation of the laws or customs of war as recognised by Article 3.1a of the Genevan Conventions of 1949. These are the 6 men alleged to have been shot and killed in the village, and the 7th man who died in hospital from the beatings he had received in the village and at Mirkovci police station. Secondly, wanton destruction of a village by setting fire to at least 14 houses, a violation of the laws and customs of war. And thirdly, cruel treatment of ethnic Albanian residents of the village at the various locations indicated, a violation of the laws and customs of war as recognised by Article 3.1a of the Geneva Conventions of 1949. The other accused, Johan Tarčulovski, is charged on a quite different basis from Ljube Boškoski. Johan Tarčulovski was a relatively junior police officer serving in the unit providing security for the President of Macedonia and his family. It is alleged that he commanded the police who actually entered Ljuboten village on 12 August 2001, that he led the police during the attack and was present when the crimes were committed. He is charged under Article 7.1 of the statute with having ordered, planned, instigated and aided and abetted the crimes committed in the village by the police, and also for participating in a joint criminal enterprise with others to commit these same crimes. The indictment does not allege that he had any responsibility for the acts of mistreatment which are alleged to have occurred outside Ljuboten. For the tribunal to have power to deal with crimes charged against the accused, it must be proved by the prosecution that an armed conflict existed in Macedonia at the time of the charged offences. The prosecution alleged that an internal armed conflict existed from January until at least September 2001 between the security forces, that is the army and the police, and the Albanian National Liberation Army, which will be referred to as the NLA. This issue was highly contested during the trial. It is a complex factual and legal issue. The Chamber has dealt with important aspects of the evidence and set out its reasoning in the judgment. In the result, the Chamber is satisfied that by August 2001, there was an internal armed conflict between the security forces and the National Liberation Army. The prosecution and defence cases as to what occurred in Ljuboten on 12 August 2001 are in considerable opposition. The defence submits that the events that occurred in Ljuboten were part of a legitimate law enforcement operation to search for members of the NLA and to prevent future NLA attacks. The prosecution case is that the police operation in Ljuboten and the destruction caused was not a legitimate law enforcement operation. It was not justified by military necessity, that Ljuboten was not an NLA stronghold, and it was not used as an NLA logistics base. The Chamber has heard a great deal of conflicting evidence on this and other issues in the trial. The Chamber notes that it found that some evidence from residents of the village, especially concerning the presence and activities of NLA members in the village, and from members of the police and the army concerning the events, was not honest and reliable. The Chamber is satisfied that in the morning of 12 August 2001, a party of at least 60 to 70 and possibly more than 100 well-armed reserve police, including men from a private security agency called Cometa, entered the village of Ljuboten. They took with them a considerable amount of incendiary material. A police armoured personnel carrier supported them. Johan Tarčulovski led this group of police. Macedonian army units positioned in the mountainous country around the village provided mortar and other fire support, especially as the unit was poised and ready to enter the village. Members of the army, however, are not charged in respect of these events.